Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. We'll wait for 2 minutes to wait some people to join us, and then we will start our talk. So again, hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well, and welcome to the second part of GedX series of talks. In this first talk, we will talk about the blockchain technology, challenges and opportunities, which will be presented by Sir Massi Achab. He's an AI and a blockchain professional and technical lead at Nevermind. With that said, I will leave the word to Sir Masil to start his talk. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, yeah. Hello, everyone. So thanks for the intro, Abdessamad. So yeah, I'm sure you already have like a pretty long day. So today, as we have been told, so I'll talk about like blockchain technology and also the challenges and opportunities, because in my opinion, technology, you can find it elsewhere. Challenges and opportunities, it's a bit more my personal opinion and personal views. So yeah, I'd like to give like really real examples about that. So yeah, here is like the outline. So first we'll talk about like the technology quickly, then challenges, give several examples, and finally the opportunities. So about the technology. So yeah, maybe most of you already have heard about that, but like a blockchain is like a decentralized, distributed, and tamper-proof digital ledger. So what does it mean? It means that it's like a ledger, so a book that stores like every transaction, and it's not stored by only a single entity, but several ones that are running the same software on their computer. And it's like the underlying technology or networks of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So yeah, both are like relying on blockchain technology, but we'll explain like in a few slides which is the the main differences between the two networks. And the key characteristics are like the security, the fact that you are sure that the transactions are valid using like cryptography principles, the fact that transactions are transparent, because actually everything that happens on the blockchain, you can see it if you have like either if you run a client or if you look at some websites that are called Block Explorer. So basically, when someone sends some Bitcoin or something else from to someone else, it's possible to see the exact moment where it has been sent, the amount, etc. Okay, and then it's immutable. It means that what has been stored and written once can be overwritten. Of course, you can like update some data, but if you update, you will see that you will be able to see like the previous data and then the new data after the update time. And finally, the fact that it's decentralized, so it's not owned by a single entity, but by several entities that are running the same software on their network. It's really important because this is the main challenge here. The fact that to have like all those properties, but in a decentralized way. So when we talk about blockchain, it's important to understand like this word, because blockchain is actually a chain of blocks, and by chain, I mean most of you are familiar with like computer science, so you can see like this blockchain as a linked list of blocks. So it's really the block is really like I would say the atomic, I mean not atomic, but one key component of the network, and each block contains like a list of transactions. So those transactions, it can be like someone, I mean Mr. A sending like some tokens to Mr. B, or like some values that are updated, or like something else. So each block, it will contain like several transactions that happened recently. Those this block will be also added to the blockchain at a specific moment. So you'll be able to have the timestamp of the moment where it has been added. It will also contain the previous hash. So if you're familiar with like a linked list, you know that the current node contains like the reference of the previous one. So it's really similar in a blockchain. And finally, you have like a nonce, which is like a random value used in the process. But like the most important part are like the transaction, the fact that it contains transaction, and that it contains a reference to the previous block, so that you really have like that chain. Now, so we have like what we call the consensus. So as I've told you, this network is run in a decentralized manner, which means that several entities, they need to agree on the same state of the network, and there are like different consensus to have that. So the first one that have been introduced and that is still running for Bitcoin is what we call proof of work. So proof of work is basically several people called the miners that are running, that are trying to solve like a mathematical problem. And the first who is able to solve the problem and show that he has solved the problem will be able to mine the block, which means to add the block to the blockchain. And like this miner will earn like some money because of that. So there is like a competition between miners to solve the problem. And of course, like when you solve the problem, other people, they will check that the data that you're adding is correct. Otherwise, they won't accept it. So this is proof of work. It's still working on Bitcoin. It was working on Ethereum until September 2022. And in September 2022, Ethereum changed from proof of work to what we call proof of stake. And proof of stake doesn't need to like solve those complex mathematical problems, but it relies on the fact that people that have a lot of money, they want to behave the correct way, because if they don't behave that way, other people will devaluate their asset. I mean, they will say that, for instance, the ether, it doesn't worth anything because people on this network, they are not behaving the right way, so we shouldn't trust that. So yeah, basically the principle behind proof of stake is that if you have a lot of money, you're supposed to behave a correct way to maintain the valuation of your money. So this is the main principle. And given that, using proof of stake, like the people who have like high stake in the network will validate the different transactions. There are also like other consensus mechanisms, but those are the main two. And finally, smart contracts. So smart contract is like the real difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, because even though they are both relying on the blockchain, they are both blockchains. Bitcoin, it's only a currency. It means that you can only send some token from one address to another. Whereas with Ethereum, you can really build some applications on top of that. And those applications, they are called smart contract. So like using like computer science language, like a smart contract, it's like simple microservice running on what we call EVM compatible blockchain. But yeah, let's say just Ethereum, because like Ethereum is like the main and like the first blockchain that have introduced smart contracts. And to write those smart contracts, you need to learn a language like to write those. Like you have Solidity. This is like the most famous one, similar to JS. Viper, like based on Python, and Huff, which is relying on and use syntax of Rust. And those smart contracts, so you can have like several use cases. So one of them is like decentralized finance. So several apps are built around that, but also supply chain management, like tracking a real object like over time, digital identity. Maybe you have heard about like WorldCoin recently, tokenization of assets, etc. So this is it for the tech part. Now let's move to the challenges. So for those challenges, I'll give you like real example that I've had in my career or that I've like read in like several articles. So one challenge is to represent like assets, I mean, real life assets in a blockchain. So it can be like when you want to represent like a real object with an NFT, for instance, or if you want to represent like, let's say, 1% of a company using smart contracts and token. So those two ideas I've seen then in my career, and it's always hard because basically if you want to represent like shares of like real estate, so real estate buildings using token, it's like a nice idea, but the hard part is that usually people that are in this business, they're not so familiar with like um, technology and modern technology. So most people of this business, even though it will improve their traceability management, they will be able to have the list of investor in 1 second. They probably won't be using it. And also, you will need to have yeah uh, a deep work on the legal part to be sure that one token that you hold on a blockchain indeed corresponds to one share of like a company or of something else. So really, for those problems, like the even though the idea is simple and you can explain it and code it pretty quickly, the hard part is really on the legal part. And also for the NFT, it's like a bit different, but still like it's a problem of like of audience, because maybe some people they want to use NFT to track some rare objects, like I don't know, sneakers or like luxury bags or stuff like that. But in practice, like only a few people will use that, and the traceability that you want to have, maybe people they won't flash the QR code, or they won't play the game to improve the traceability, and you will lose like this mapping between digital asset um, and their on-chain representation. So usually, even though it's like smart to represent like real object on chain, it can be hard to create that link. So this is one part. Second part, it's like the most famous one, like the regulation part, because I mean, as you know, like cryptocurrencies are like one of the main use cases of blockchain. Even though the regulation is evolving, like in several countries, like several countries are still forbidding its usage. And by the way, like using blockchain and using smart contract, you can build complex app that aren't using cryptocurrency at all. So there is really a complete like app ecosystem that is really different from cryptocurrency to see on Ethereum, for instance. So blockchain is wider than cryptocurrency. This is what I want to say. And also, like even though several countries they forbid the usage of cryptocurrencies, most of them they also want to introduce digital currencies. So in a way, it's not the same, but still they want to have the advantages of digital of a blockchain, like traceability, like the fact that you have a modern financial system, but they don't want um, yeah to give like the full power for the user on that. So really, digital currencies, it's more about using the tech, um, and cryptocurrencies, it's a bit different because basically you don't have any borders using them. So yeah, regulation is like a tricky topic. And finally, so one challenge in my opinion is also privacy related, because on like blockchains you have like several high-level cryptographic apps. And I want to talk about like one example. So there is like a service called Tornado Cash, and this service, Tornado Cash, it's called a mixer. So basically, you can send some money to Tornado Cash, and then you can withdraw them with another address, and nobody will know that you are the same person sending and withdrawing the money. And several people, they use that to protect their private life, and like because they feel that other people, they don't need to know this information. But still, it was used a lot by hackers, because like hackers, they were like stealing money from somewhere. They were basically washing this money using Tornado Cash. And when like the USA, they have understood that, so it was like in last year, they basically forbid the usage of this service, and every address that used this service have been banned from several apps. So basically, people, I mean, the countries, they're starting to understand that real privacy is possible on chain, and it's still not clear how they will handle that. Because like some people, they say that okay, it's important to have privacy, but when you want to know like the identity of a hacker, you basically don't want the hacker to use this service. So it's a bit again like a tricky topic that I wanted to raise. And like one really weird thing that the USA has done is that one developer of Tornado Cash, so he was just writing code. He spent like several months in jail recently. Well, just just to because he wrote some code. So it's again like regulation. It's a really tricky topic, but I think that things will evolve over time on that. But still, there are challenges, but there are also like several opportunities, in my opinion, because using smart contract, it's like really possible to build complex application that are like handling money in really a few lines of code. Like for instance, in a smart contract, you could build in a simple way Flexi, for instance, like Flexi service to send like airtime. So it's really possible to implement that in less than 50 lines of code. So it's like a really impressive technology. And also, like there are like some recent developments that enable reaching a really high TPS. So TPS is transaction per second, and like in like either this year or next year, using blockchain, you will be able to have the same TPS than Visa network. And I think that several innovation will come from this, because you will be able to build complex application regarding cryptocurrencies, like digital currencies or something else, and you will be able to do that really fast. And we'll also be able to use digital identity, several other stuff that are possible on chain. And I think that everything together, like several innovation will come from this. So this is like really important in my opinion. And also, and I want to conclude using the topic of digital currency. Several countries are talking about that. And actually, several tools are built on top of blockchain for years, like wallet, like dashboard to see transactions, like apps for like developers or user to use. And those apps, most of them, they will be possible to use using like digital currencies. So, I mean, for instance, in Algeria, I've been told about dinar like a few months ago. And like if the dinar is built on top of a blockchain, we'd be able to use like most tools that are created. And for instance, in Nigeria, like their e-naira has been built on top of what we call a private blockchain. So even though they don't allow like every apps, it will be possible to create like complex apps on top of that. So it's really important to understand that if you create like a digital currency using a blockchain, you will be able to enjoy a whole ecosystem of apps in like yeah, they won basically. So yeah, this is basically where I want to end the call. Huge opportunities, because like on the tech tech part, there is a lot of things to do. And if like one day we have like a digital currency in Algeria, we'll be able to use all of them and to have like a really modern like financial system in like yeah, one click. So yeah, that's it for the presentation. Yeah, I'll be happy to take a few questions and yeah, maybe clarify some parts or like just answer like yeah, what you have in your mind.
Thank you very much, sir, for the valuable information. It was talk full of information, and we thank you again. I'm very sure that the audience got benefit from your talk. So, as you suggested, we'll wait for up to 2 minutes if there are any questions from the audience side.
Should I look at the chat?
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it.
Okay, thanks.
The audience are sending their thanks to you, sir, for the fruitful talk.
Cool.
Well, I believe we don't have questions because the talk was so clear. I hope the audience understood everything. So again, thank you very much, sir, for the valuable information and for your fruitful talk. And we thank the audience for their presentation. And yes, we meet you again in the next talk in 5 minutes. Thank you again.
Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me. If you have
Uh,
any
Sir, there is one question.
okay, sure.
So Whitehead says that can you provide one more use case for the blockchain?
Yeah, okay. For instance, we can for instance provide the use case of ticket management. So you would be able to let's say that someone he wants to have a concert in Algiers, and you will be able to this person will be able to send like the tickets using a blockchain. And since everything is traceable in the blockchain, you will be able to see whether the ticket is a real one or not, and whether it's selling at the correct price or not. And also you would be able to create like what we call a secondary market. So let's say that I've bought like a place for a concert, but I don't want to go there. Using smart contract, you'll be able to enforce the price of the ticket to be the same. So if I bought it at 100, I cannot sell it at 200. I should sell it at the same price that I've bought it. So this is just one use case. But yeah, this is like also something that people are starting to use.
Thank you for the reply, sir. Again, we thank you again, and that's it. The end of our first talk. We have one more. We have talks to present yet, and we meet you again in 3 minutes with the next talk.
Okay, great. So yeah, thanks everyone. So yeah, if you have any question, don't hesitate to add me to the social media. So this is my at, this is my name on LinkedIn, and I'll send you the links of the slides. Okay, so thanks a lot, and yeah, have a good end of the day.
Thank you.